Hello, my name is Thomas Donald Jacobs. This is my first vlog ever, and my first vlog for Paperboys. So, a little bit about myself. I'm 39 years old. I'm originally from Mississippi. I now live in Belgium, where I am working and studying. I'm a PhD student at the University of Ghent, um, and I'm also a research and teaching assistant at the same university. Um, I started transitioning in 2015. And this video is about the changes that you experience in a transition as a transmasculine individual. So I didn't start testosterone though until August of 2016 because um, the gender clinic that I go to um, at the University Hospital in Ghent does not work with informed consent. So I'm coming up on 3 years on testosterone, and some of the physical changes, I guess, like the typical ones, bottom growth, increased sweating, change in like my body odor, and acne. Those were all very quick. Um, with regard to like bottom growth, certainly within like the first 2 weeks, and the sweating and acne shortly thereafter. The changes that I wanted the most when I started uh, have been the slowest to come, though. So my voice did not start to drop until about, I guess, 4 months in. Um, and it was so slow, um, and I was so dysphoric about it that I made one recording after I noticed that it first started to drop, and I only knew it was starting to drop because I had really bad sore throats. I made one audio recording of myself and have not heard my voice since today. And I have to say, like, I did a little test video before I, started shooting this one, and I like the way that I sound. In fact, so happy day. This has already um, helped at least one person. I know that it has settled because the it stopped cracking, and I stopped having regular bouts of sore throats that always preceded. It seemed to me a drop in my voice, and I only knew for sure that it was dropping because other people commented on it. The other change that I really wanted was, of course, I think one that a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people want when they start testosterone, um, and that was hair growth. So some hair came in really quickly, or hair that was already there thickened up, like on my hair on my legs, or on my stomach, or around here, because I was already a little hairy. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. I say had because I had a hysterectomy last summer, so that's no longer an issue. Um, that was quick, and then other things have not been as great. My hairline um, changed very quickly, which caused some anxiety because I would quite like to keep the hair on top of my head. My hairline seems to have settled since my hysterectomy. I haven't noticed any changes in that area since then, and that's good. But I also realize that um, if that changes further and I do start to have like real hair loss, um, then that's okay. Actually, I'm more okay with that now. Mostly because like a general sense of like better well being, and also the realization that hats are cheap, so that's all right. That's a thing that can be fixed. I wanted more facial hair than what I currently have. Um, my little mustache only started coming in um, after I had my hysterectomy, about 2 months afterwards, and I only within the last 2 months actually started to get like more hair on my cheeks and kind of this just starts of something looking a little bit like sideburns. That's been reassuring because I'm, pretty certain now that I will get more facial hair. I have to be patient, and that's something that I realized as this has gone along. You don't always get what you want, which seems kind of obvious on the face of it, but it took me time to accept that with regard to this. I didn't get what I wanted. Sure as shit did not get what I wanted in my first puberty. And it was hard to accept that I was not going to get everything that I wanted in my second puberty. I am never going to sound like Johnny Cash or Josh Turner. And I'm never going to look like, Chris Pratt or Wes Studi. And that's okay. Because, like, the biggest change for me really has been mentally and emotionally. Um, I like myself better now as I am. In fact, like, I have days when I can look at myself in the mirror and actually like what I see. And for a long time in my life, I couldn't even look in a mirror. I couldn't shower um, without wearing clothes in the shower. I had to take showers like I went to a public swimming pool um, in a pair of trunks and a shirt because I just couldn't stand occasional glimpses of myself if I happened to look down. I don't have to do that shit anymore. So that's been, I guess, the biggest thing, the biggest improvement. Just being happier with who I am as a physical being, and also more aware of who I am as a physical being, because I am much more aware of my mood swings, which are, like when I was a woman, actually still tied to my hormone cycle. So instead of um, PMS before I got my period, now I have like a dip in my mood when I come to the end of a shot cycle. And I'm much more in control of it now. Before I felt so out of control. I would have rage and crying and breaking things and making other people miserable just because I was. And I don't do that anymore because I think just because I'm more aware of it and I'm feel much more in control of myself and I'm more aware of what's going on because now I pay more attention to my body instead of just trying to ignore it or cover myself up so that even I could pretend that I didn't exist. Um, and that's something else that's changed. Like, I have more confidence. I permit myself to take up space. I try not to take up too much space because that is definitely a form of male privilege that I now have. If I want to interrupt someone, no one's going to say anything to me. And they should. They really should. Um, so I try to be aware of that and not do that. Um, but I'm not expected to apologize for having an opinion or for, just occupying like physical space. I don't feel like I have to crowd myself into a little corner um, when I'm in public so that, you know, I'm not taking up too much space. That's something that I think people who are perceived as female in Western dominated society, that's ingrained into you. That you only exist as an individual and function of other people. and that you don't have value. Um, and now I don't have that being reinforced on a continual basis, and that is, I think, one of the things that's caused like the greatest amount of um, emotional improvement for me, um, and confidence. Because if I go outside, I don't worry about people making constant remarks to me about my appearance, for example, which used to happen all the time. I had people bark at me. That doesn't happen anymore. Um, and I also wear what I want. I love my t-shirts. This is a great one. Uh, but if I want to dress up, I will wear shirts with little tiny flowers on them because I love it. And my favorite pair of boots has tiny little flowers on it because I love that. And I'll wear jewelry, and I'll even paint my toenails if I want. And if other people don't like it, I don't care. I don't even care if they say anything because they also have the option, I know now, of turning their heads and looking away because that's what your neck is for, and it don't cost nothing. Um, so that's great, and I feel much like better about going outside. I will say, however, um, I thought the transition was going to solve all of my problems, and it hasn't, because I had other problems that were not related to um, transitioning, or dysphoria, not directly, anyways. Those have not been resolved. So I still have depression, but it's not as bad as it was before. Prior to transitioning, I was pretty much on my way to being a full time drunk. And I spent most of my time when I wasn't at work drinking and wishing myself out of existence or planning to end my existence or attempting to end my existence. And I don't do any of that anymore. I do, however, still have days when I have trouble leaving my apartment, usually after I've come into um, conflict with someone who caught me on a bad day when my mood was already low, um, and had to say some shit to me about, usually about being trans. And then that will, the dysphoria will pop up, and I'll have a really bad day, but it passes. The anxiety, same thing. I still get anxiety, but not as bad. You know? So it's all right. Like my life has become not just bearable, even, but actually enjoyable a lot of the times. Um, and I think that's the biggest and actually the best change for me. So I hope that this video was informative and helped someone. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.